Hello, Tucker Carlson. All the networks are recorded involved with very ill identity of logic, identity theft crimes. For example, I shouldn't start. I don't know why I started I forgot what I was going to speak about, but I remember now. The identity of the ground, for example, next to Trinity College, next to CCSU, with programs sustained through time, with police forms on and off campuses, and then not just locally, not just close off to them, in sustained ways, like intercities. These are people involved with what is originally and still self-valued roles with what keeps it roles with it, which was entrenched, valued relationships to what is entrenched as in, for example, the databases of Trinity College were used criminally from people associated with a whole bunch of people associated with crime roles with directors, like associated with on off Trinity College, on off CCSU with crimes leading up to the Trade Center in it, but with judges too, not just with police forms from off campuses using sustained on off campuses standing criminal insidiousness natures of positive treatment, of fact treatment nature value as a nature of volume, fact treatment nature. See these with this identity thefts, they're stealing the identity of mandate, interbranch. They're preventing people from defending themselves. They're preventing areas from doing it, and then they're lying about that. So then they're having to interbranch individually. Already having, there are perfected criminals. The same way they have the overt criminal enterprises with the areas through time, juxtaposed. For example, just even with Fox Connecticut News in that corner, and their roles with them with the on off Hartford Hospital, a whole bunch of people criminally involved because they have foreign and domestic shared, individually grouped and together. All you can't defend those identities of value treatments, and also at the same time from what is keeping them these identity theft rackets rolls and interstates, not just Washington D.C. Trade Center intercities maintain worse than interstates criminally foreign influence. In other words, originally and still, how is recorded. Fake news stole my identity. Fake news is real because, and it's not only real, it's keeping sequence shift styles in collusion with where and how a whole bunch of nations of fake positive modern nations are in an identity of negative value nature progression. Meaning, for example, all the different identities of our body as complete identities. They share one as a different nature of sequence, as a complete nature of sequence. This is what logic is about. See, but we have, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a police form, I'm not a Christian, we have doctors being relied on with shadows, with, in other words, they just make you stand there, the forged names and switch names. Because you walk by them, they're going to pretend to have a conversation with you. These are people involved with various natures of courts and their drug clicks and their crime acts roles with child sex offenders, with their patients and criminals before they were even in jails and prisons, with a principal child offenders campus where they're more involved with it, and with the interbranch with the police chief, his daughter recorded. I never met her. He recorded and confessed involved with her husband and other people within the Britain Superior Court. Attach me to fake conversations, fake sequences through time, fake relationships to others, fake locations, fake sequences. No, because sequences is in other words, this is also offensively, they're preventing the integrity of mandated law. They're pretending prevent. They're forcing aggressions. Too. This is also what they're doing on areas. The people who are talking about our aggressions online, They're making convictions outside of courts. That's why one-way reports. That's why they're offensively pretending to be against behavior because they can't take positions on it without being sequence shift native rules and saying all that the courts decided. That's what I'm saying. The courts, various natures of courts on off their state judicial branch offices, recorded and confessed with a whole bunch of people involved, with a whole bunch of the body dumping spots through time, facilitated to it. A Fianza family, people associated with the time placements of ads with the internetworks, an IO family, whole bunch of people associated with the Gold family through time. I had nothing to do with them. They like when you try to tell them because then it implies that you did because they in narratives they fake me to fake locations, fake conversations with them, fake behavior. These are database crime roles that are also criminally using the identity of the ground constantly, inherently, actively, and progressively with all sophistication contained. So right around the corner from Zion Street, that little short street next to Trinity College, then there's Farmington Ave. There's that area, and there are locations and people associated with that area, associated with the lawyer, Robert Chevery of a lawyer of a former director of FBI, Robert Luskin. Now, a whole bunch of three federal criminal co-defendants of his were involved with a pattern of crime acts against me since before the Trade Center attack, in it, and since they're not letting me have a ground to counter what they're criminally doing through time, speaking through other people. So now they're saying what they're saying they don't say, including the FBI. Whole bunch of other FBI people involved. They also name stack because these are crime acts methods, forging names, switching names, torture, interbranch, individually grouped and together, forging names, doing switching names, switching sequences too, but switching names because they're preventing the identity of the ground to be countered. They're lying about our reaction, our behavior. They're attaching us to fake words. They have a whole bunch of people tied to a Dillon family, foreign and domestic military criminally involved here, with child offenders further, and women judges, more than 3. They don't let anyone speak when you go into courts. That they're using that through time for their crimes leading up to with the areas on and off campuses, all kinds of predicate acts. A whole bunch of women named Alicia used criminally with the men that and women that share the name Bobby Till, per their name roles with a name crime racket that started with the same grammar school. Whole bunch of mixed natures of crimes, of live progression, cover up needs and natures, maintain victim predators. Forgiveness was for this because this is an organized crime conversation. These are criminal uses of the ground. There's a Mark Violet, his brother, and uh, Oliveri, and people associated with him, and Joshua Stryker, further involved with UPS police forms, and people involved with database crimes, identity theft, crime action, also as evidence crimes, illusions, because these are people involved also with Trade Center, Washington, D.C., crime acts against me. And against plaintiffs through how they went against me. They went against my father and my family against me. In other words, they're recorded. They attached my mother to fake words. They approached her to pretend they weren't involved. They recorded themselves before that involved with federal criminals, with interbranch offensive evidence perception crimes, and worse. Recorded, confessed, and demonstrated by little Miss Prizzy and Cricks every year of my life. And other people. They did this through everyone, even people like it, because everyone's relying about what other people say and think. We have interbranch. Why do you think every day they're throwing people to jail for things that didn't even do violent things? A machine. It's not because of money. It's because those people are victim predators. That's why we need the identity of mandated law. We need the identity of logic defended. We need the identity of mandated law defended. Fox Connecticut News is if one news will counter because this is internetwork. This is a database organized crime and being coached per the uses of lawyers and law also recorded and involved. You can't defend that until our American history, which is about correlation, which shows that the lawyers were fake side of correlation, fake middles with physical delusions and criminal foreign influences with the branches of government. Because there was already entrenched a breaching organized crime method that forced all to roles, not with free speech, short of being able to defend ourselves. So they had so James Madison preempted this, but they did not. And that's why George Washington had to come here, right next to Trinity College, first George Washington College, right before the last battle of the Revolutionary War. Even with the French general's help, he could only semi-counter extort. We had to leave with overt slavery, with color. And we know they had slavery of everyone per the laws. But see, that's worse than obfuscated. That's glorified while it's violently forced. What's doing that is maintaining needs to get off crime methods that no one was watching because no one's letting mandated law. Everyone's listening to titles that are worthless when it comes down to this. When it comes down to really why you ask why Hartford, Connecticut, the Hartford, Connecticut was built. Look at it in Russia, they have the same pathology of infrastructure. This forced since before cars to be the pathology. But before our founders' births, there were already the crazy slavery laws against everyone. This made in layers tribes A through Z, nations A through Z, tribal members A through Z, everybody, colonists A through Z, missed how they were being invested as criminal citizens' natures of positive, with value treatments of logic, which is inseparable from all things that are a gaining nature of volume and also has a quality of diffusion per its identity of relationship to itself and the value of that, which is going to cause positive or negative in relationship to itself, which is the identity of positive, which Allah's name was revealed to teach with the Trinity. See, we have religions that are trying to preserve truth and that not being loud because we don't have free speech. Fox Connecticut News is recorded and confessed with a whole bunch of people associated with the buildings around them. Recorded and confessed with a whole bunch of natures of crime, and that needing to be described because I don't know them good, and that's not how I have to point to the people involved further with the child sex offenders, medical doctors involved with them criminally, how they have women involved with it, even women judges. So we have to have mandated law followed. They have the databases of Trinity College, of CCSU involved with it, but it was effective from off the campuses. They're trying to keep people, in other words, we don't want to be illegal, we're responsible. Then they'll hurt the people if they say anything. That's from off campus. That's not Trinity's intention. That's why they're forging and switching names because they can't pretend that, but they can get away with it because of how the identity of the ground is being used and was being used through time. These are people associated on and off the fire department next to it with a whole bunch of people through time invested this way through interactions maintained. Each age of fact achieving nature is a nature of volume that they're maintaining self-value per a method of child abuse that is simultaneously elderly abuse. There's simultaneously abuse of each age of fact achieving nature, each individual person, group, and together. Species, nature of volume has no free speech. How could we have free? Fox Connecticut News also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with WFSB crimes with the Britain Superior Court Hartford courts with police forms, foreign and domestic military involved with policing of the internet. In other words, with federal crimes with child sex offenders, crime roles in synergy, pretending they have integrity, forcing that not told on at first, and further still. And that's why it's important to understand how the interbranch family members are using their kids. They stole that because they, before they were those people in those positions of the courts, they were involved with identity theft, faking conversations, not just faking conversations with me. Time they knew where people are going to walk because they're leaving illusions because they have each age of they have made criminal uses of time where you're going to walk in relation measured to the database. These are originally and still. That's why we have American history not told. Everyone divided, worse than divided and conquered. That's self value. Well, how we have no mentally sane people where we need experts on that. We have them forging names, switching names, drugs, crime roles with people that used to be live in my area a long time ago, and people that left out through this Dillon family. A whole bunch of people tied with this Dillon family, tied to the mother of a child sex offender, with more. One tied to a there's people. There's a guy, Dr. Dewberry and Dingleberry, people, and a whole Leahy family involved with Yagmans and people around the corner of him, like a Mike Pandoff. Those are people also recorded involved with criminal uses of lawyers for fake sides of fact cheating nature, for identity theft, for sequence shift roles, for crimes with pretended vetting and things like that, for for their roles with life progressions, sustained per more natures of child abuse with the campuses. There are more people on off the campuses too, criminally involved with the middle school, South Steam Middle School. There's a Dr. Graham, a female doctor, even involved further with a Phil Colo, also recorded and confessed by Bob Chase, involved with him with you know if evidence crimes, rules crimes, and with child sex offenders. He's further of that, so that they have other motivations, natures of crimes, but they have crime acts rules, illusions with databases, identity theft crime acts, sequence shifts. These are also people crimes through time with a forensics place with the people that put the fake news crime acts with them, and with a Phil Colo, John Mayano. People with New Britain Superior Court with their drug clerks, child offenders, a whole bunch of ways. So, they have the right to lie and to have undercover positions, military people with drugs with the kids and stuff, but they're using it for other natures and methods of crime. They're with databases. See, with people's names. I never had anything to do with this Debbie Gould. I explained how they sequence shift by coming up to me yelling time, pretending I had a conversation with her. That's also attached to the people that went to my grammar school and never had a conversation with, and the ones I did recorded involved, like the O'Brien family. They're further involved with Sandy Hook, Newtown, tied to the interbranch on and off the state judicial branch, criminally involved here. Also with evidence with the guy took my pants out of they put me in because I was put I have no criminal record, and I want to keep it that way too. And they want to keep stacking lies against people. So now I'm not being charged here, and they're recorded criminally preventing mandated law criminally, and they've been stacking databases through time, and that's much worse. They're preventing the quality fact treatment in nature from having an identity of the ground relationship. They're forcing, like what they're doing with the sensibilities with online behavior. All we need is recorded. But they're forcing aggression, to pretend that they're not involved, recorded with identity theft crime acts, criminal uses of the databases, criminal uses of forging names, switching names, different natures of identity thefts. The missed, all bonded, because they're bonded liars by a method that kept us entrenched. This was forgiveness is needed for. Not to give up, though. You know, That's why we need federal stewardships of Connecticut. If Fox CT, other agencies, you know, they sue them, but get the, give me a response. They got you guys are recorded being and confessed coaching, being coached with identity theft crime act. You have fake YouTube pages pretending to be me, federal crime pretending to be me, with a picture they took from WFSB involved with the crime, whole bunch of people associated with crime spots, with body dumping spots, with people with the killers associated with it, various natures of criminal enterprises associated with it. Mike Kerr, Jerry Kurz, and police forms still actively criminally involved, confessed and recorded involved criminally with child sex offenders cliques, with police, with Weathersfield schools and intercity schools. People at CCSU also recorded and confessed involved with them, with also recorded and confessed involved with Latin gangs per their sexual circles, per how they were made to act things when they have people walk up time reactions. They have roles with the drugs and things like that, and sexual circles they force per their influences with foreign and domestic police forms in collusion. We have this nature of criminal influence, roles with what can't accept free speech is simultaneously inherent, active, and progressive means with their roles, with the shootings on, and because first they're involved with torture, that they're not letting free speech too. This is first they're not letting religion too. They're recorded and pretending to be against that by being sick, offensive predators with passions and emotions dishonestly about religion, with states and areas entrenched with it because they're involved with all these natures of sensibility treatment crimes, positive treatment crimes. These aren't the voices of journalism, and they're pretending other offensively fighting. In other words, you guys are identity theft crime acts roles. You have an obligation to follow mandated law, the identity of mandated law, the identity of logic, which is in relationship to the nature of volume that we are, that which is being exploited, the identity of its identity of values, relationship to our active fact cheaping nature value, as a quality of diffusion, as a quality of volume, as a nature of volume, a nature being what is positive or negative onto itself, completely as itself. And when it is not positive onto itself, it's not completely as itself. Bach sings, it tells us things. See, this is aggression. This is aggression when they're talking about they're stealing my identity, forging names, switching names, preventing identity of the ground counters. They're property thefts. These are extortion rolls. But see, they're not. I need the names of the people tied to the director of the FBI, but they're recorded and criminally involved, and a whole bunch of people with the names Alicia, and then how they scare people and stuff like that, and then they make in other words, they make reactions. They're forcing everyone a quality of factory where everyone's alive. That's the natural, because they're forcing, and the courts need to bring things before themselves because they're recorded criminally involved. Their roles, various natures of courts and on and off their state judicial branch office and their family members. That's why, and people that work and their family members, other family members that work for them. And that's maintained the outcome because of how the identity of the ground is being used, because of how each age of fact cheaping nature in the campuses is being used into campuses, from off the ground of education and on off campuses and layers. It's recorded. WFSB is coaching kids, fake positive and fake righteous justice and pseudo positive. These are with women judges, forging names, switching names, crime acts roles, forcing sustained rape thefts, identity thefts of and criminal uses of Saudi names and families, various ones, and then they attach me involved with it because then they had crime acts roles. They did this before the Trade Center attack, and they don't understand that. These are deans involved with foreign and domestic military through Normandy Heights. Justin Klavinskas, his wife. These are people that all criminally used and involved directly and indirectly criminally with family members of and the people as co-defendants of former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, in the 2006 case. That was after it was proven they were his co-defendants were associated with post-dated documents from inside the Ninth Circuit right before the Trade Center attack. Now, this is exploiting where and as and how we have nations individually grouped and together evaluating positive that's only positive in relationship to the counters of war, the contrasts of war and of things like the threats with that. See, but those progressions are self-valued because here and there, those are all pseudosciences. They're all bridged, and what they share in Russia and America, for example, is psychology involved with crimes against the people, with criminal incompetence and physical delusions regarding their takes on logic, regarding their takes on the Trinity, regarding their takes on morality, regarding their takes on themselves and their misprision roles, forging names, switching names, crime acts roles with areas criminals because they're hiding lie progressions from those databases. So now we have sensibilities of people being lied about and in sustained ways. So those are people also with a whole bunch of police forms. So what do? They exploit how they have so many police forms undercover and foreign and domestic. This has to check that. We have to have these. This is why it's so sick. That's why since before cars were even hello new subscriber Kroganators. So, but since before cars were even invented, before our founders were even born, this pathology of houses were forced by the craziest laws against everyone. This was what was engineered. So, logic has an identity, and mandate has an identity that is being forced to stay criminal and serious nature. We have the FBI director Comey recorded and confessed and demonstrated physical delusions and criminal foreign influence to pretend that he has the right to lie for a context he doesn't have the right to lie. I can prove that to you. And he tried to quote statutes and things like that by criminally exploiting exceptions and by evaluating that having been only realized, exploited. Now, so we have standing with their treatments of call it white nationalism. They know it's not white nationalism. What's recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. We have undercover positions. We have military police families associated with these groups, like the KKK, Confederate flag, recorded, confessed. Now, see, that's involved also with Sammy Vega, with the Puerto Rican flag, and with his roles with criminal justice campuses like CCSU, interbranch family members involved leading up to the Trade Center attack context, and in it from interbranch corruption involved with CCSU since I was in that same grammar school. See, these are juxtaposed natures of crimes. And the principal back then had a daughter there now, and her husband's involved with um and so they're gonna hate me, but I have to say it. And see, that's why how they're controlling sensibility natures. They're using that as a standing criminal and serious nature because everyone had to speak through other people in the past, and they did that to criminally exploit it now. Because that's what the educational department at CCSU involved with the people on off Trinity College campus, criminal uses of their databases, crimes with the police forms on off the campus, and then the private police forms and their family members criminally involved. In other words, then everyone wants to hate you because, in other words, I don't even know them. So this is all in fake narratives on paper, and so they're forging names, switching names with deans. Involve crimes with modern languages. Involve crimes with Hartford Hospital, the various natures of hospitals recorded, confessed, involved with all kinds of natures of drug crimes with each age of fact treatment nature and with their police forms, uses of anomaly that they exploit. They're the ones. Their crimes through. They have like the police forms and the gangs themselves will say they'll all that they force people to do bad things and then to be in the thing. In other words, they're forcing our directors to do bad things because of how nations are grouped. Hundreds of nations are grouped, whereas and how they're all exploiting how they are pseudo positive positions. And doing that, why in other words, you can't defend yourself like that and allow actual logic with integrity, free speech. So you're still involved with the fact treatment nature organized crime against um, everyone sickly distinctly, especially black people, unequally. See, but that's from an organized crime method. And see, that's why, in other words, that's an organized crime method. And if we blame it on anything else, then we become more and more victim to it. Because then we defend a quality of fact treatment nature that's naive. And we have that self value. Because we have victim predators of theater only, let's speak, each age of it. And that's maintained, exploited. These are sick people associated with these, like, the, with these prisons. The, the from outside of them. People involved with CCSU, criminal justice, involved with UConn, involved with campuses, interstates, intercities, especially with psychology. See, we're going to have the campus Marcius is ancient, and this is a criminally foreign influenced campus systems, fire campuses, medical campuses. See, they have the students involved criminally with Hartford Hospital. A whole bunch of people associated these are people involved with child sex offenders criminally. Then they have then they have give me a response because we have various natures of courts in the background criminally involved with this. They're preventing mandated law. No, so in other words, the former director of the FBI and his lawyer are recorded confessed involved with the people from my town with federal crimes and other natures of crimes on and off the campus of Trinity College and of CCSU, affected from off of it. Everyone directed to follow other natures of experts, and that those people are in the furtherance of overt criminal enterprises through time, juxtaposed with private ones, especially with psychology, with database clicks. And that's tied to time treatments where it has and how they knew these all standing criminal insidiousness natures would keep exploiting time too fast, too slow, getting over, attaching people to fake words, fake things, using courts as trick factory nature racket rolls that originally and still. That's what American history is about. Our founders left us to demonstrate that George Washington only chopped down part of the impositions upon this landscape in each person's and its identity of value nature relationship to our science of what causes positive or negative value nature progressions actually really. So now they put other value nature systems that you can't defend and also at the same time, and they juxtaposed overt criminal enterprises because they knew the volume we are left criminally foreign influenced states and areas that maintains all identities of the law, all identities of jobs, all identities of time treatment kept needing to blame the real causes of of negative value nature progressions acts and natures on other things others themselves and needing to value that, having valued that, invested having value, only capable of speculation through what is organized crime method maintained, only allowed to see um, ill justice, justified, aggression, not for the positive for all. And as that cheered, because everyone's a victim, they reaction, needing to defend already fact-sheeping nature reactions that blamed other things, others themselves. With time treatments too. People want to think about bad things and stuff. They want to think about good. It's for a reason. See, but now it's through a system that's going to keep negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures. People say, "Oh, things got better." Things got better because they knew they were going to get better. They put the people so sick deep because they knew it was going to get better, but everyone's going to fight to be. Everyone's going to stay. Contain quality of fact-sheeping nature that is fighting to keep anyone from free speech, fighting to stay roles, pretending that positive exists, and that's being unaccosted, pretending that our liberation was secured. Those are not means. Anyone allowed free speech and not our identity is not stolen, and all these sequence shift natures and rackets, crime methods upon us taken down. Take down the fake news, please. They're pretending people about they're using all these things when they jump about what it means to believe in this or that. You know, that's not the law. That's not no. These are violent networks because these are violent. These networks are involved with criminal. These because of this nature and method of the directors maintain criminally foreign influence here and there. Not one modern nation has a fact-sheeping nature person not let realized be a victim predator or worse has happened. That's recorded. These are not our means. We have cars now, but we're still the same pathology force before they had built for this, built to keep negative value nature progression. Hartford is specifically. That's why they had it made it perfectly to have it unfold as 2-family, 3-family homes after. All tactically denatured relationship to nature. Right where they have the worst part of it, the most impositions upon people, that's where they put right on top of the water. Well, how come they don't just have the water then? They put a dump there. But that was layered through other people's motivations and natures as ours. This is the pathology everyone was invested to, only capable of affording all levels of wealth through this pathology. That's all it could do. So we have waters underground, things like that. All gather around. Go get my bat. So we have further inter-religious spots criminally involved, but we have further people on off. See, these are people on off the FBI locations, like New Haven FBI. These are people on off Fox Connecticut News with the downtown Hartford, associated with the Chet Casper, his family, recorded and involved with medical corruption, military corruption. This is mass corruption with VA tied to this because they're just not letting free speech. And these are not our means. They're keeping everything that is. That's why by keeping offensively punks with pretended care for people like, oh, honor the service people. They're preventing the real value from being utilized, from being the source of what says that's not acceptable for the VA. Those aren't our means. All these laws and things like that are in the way. These are for religious too. In other words, the identity of the ground, the relationship to the water means to afford out of the tactically denatured relationship to nature. We don't have to pay for that. That's freedom. The only thing that makes us have to pay for that is there and here phenomena are suit and tie. Everyone lifted to fact cheaping nature pseudo positive. Since semi-ancient times, they knew that if they had that self-defended for what they made as the phenomenon of modern nations, they could keep perpetually live progressions from standing live progression cover up natures they could perpetually exploit. That's what motivated witch trials. That's what motivated uses of color. Then and now, everyone awes because we never had anything but criminally foreign influenced and delusions wrought sciences that we were all taken through. We were only that was from off the identities of the ground of education's value, which is inseparable from our identity of logic's value. We have we have a crime method that uses people pretending to be against and really trying to be against prison corruption, prison reform. I'm for prison reform. Those people are being used to further the criminality with those prisons and with their doctors and with those judges with the crimes with the area's worst criminals, with the crimes with the databases with the areas. How this is maintained is directly related to this child abuse method that keeps the branches like with this Joshua Julian and with this Enzo Fienza, recorded and confessed involved with overt criminal enterprises with interbranch family members who made confessions about that, about their crime acts roles, verbal federal crimes with them through time, originally still to the youngest kids. And then they exploit that because they put live progressions. They also do tricks with that, like pretending people were in a class they weren't. Like, say, now all these people are in this grade together. They were in that grade together before, but they were in different groups. And those people are lied to. And those people, they're doing it in relationship to measured criminal uses of databases, not just there, but off the campuses. There's a whole bunch of men and women involved with medical corruption and overt criminal enterprises, reported confessed involved with database crimes, identity theft crimes, with a Phil Cololo, also with child sex offenders, and with a whole bunch of people with forensics labs involved with body dumping spots, people criminally through time. This is criminality with the transition from ACA to RICO, with their crime acts roles, also with houses in my area involved that the police forms juxtaposed the sensibilities through their crime acts uses of it, their ties to the witness protection program directly and indirectly with one house. Now, these are the people with the child sex offender crime roles. These are also people with this Leahy family that attached me to fake conversations with others with this Lombardo family. Also, were involved with criminally. With I never saw them in the area before, in the street before, and the Leahy family. But I know those people are involved with the people criminally involved here, and with the police chief and his extended family member, foreign and domestic, involved also with spots at the end of the Berlin Turnpike, with people with state police involved criminally with the people that own uh, that gravestone place. In other words, not in other words, I should say criminally. In other words, the police forms are involved with criminal uses of the campuses sensibilities that way in collusion for so to what the police forms are stacking in the databases. And you know they're forging names and switching names and preventing their counter to the identity of the ground. How they're keeping everyone criminal seriousness nature rolls with identity theft crime acts. Narratives where I'm in fake conversations with people, fake locations, fake behavior. And but then you can't counter it because no one will ever put anything in writing since I was a kid. The same ones. Every campus I went to. These were also people involved with crimes interstates because the only time I know them was just for that, so they could have illusions interstates. Because they have also wire crime methods interstates with illusions. I don't know any from one from Rhode Island, by the way. Whoever called. No words. Those are people involved also with the fake news crime acts clicks with the body dumping spot of Billy Grasso and with this Kerr family and with this DeMauro family. Now, even if they made that up because the judges told them to, because those cases, the New Britain Superior Court was recorded and confessed various natures of crimes with them, men and women and judges recorded and confessed. Now, there was one judge then, or I don't know how many it was, but now it's a whole bunch of them because they keep doing this through time, sticking fake things in databases. These are people with sick interstate clicks with forging names, switching names. They have sexual circles involved with DCF that are crimes with kids. These are people pretending everyone's calling other people things. These are fake integrity interbranch. These are crime acts, roles, and methods where they forge names and switch names. They pretend they're Darth Vader and they're using the Force. So then they're all these convictions that aren't scientific process. They're stealing our identities, fake news. WFSB, Fox Connecticut News, whole bunch of people associated with Mendez police, people associated with on off Two Rod Highway and Hangdog Lane, recorded and confessed, involved identity theft, federal crimes with the Dillon family that persuaded them to it directly and indirectly. And these are people that are forcing everyone to communicate through misprision groups. So they're saying what they're saying they're not because they're speaking through other people. So get them to pick one name in sequence and out of the branches of government. Follow mandated law. And we're going to have our American history now. It's going to reveal we have physical delusions and criminal foreign influence with our logic treatment experts, and we're gonna examine their database crimes, criminal uses of on off Trinity College with and on off CCSU for its roles with campuses intercities, criminally involved. Because these are the people hiring the teachers, making sure they're all right to be teachers. See, but the people making sure they're all right are making sure they're going to be able to cover up their life progressions with them criminally provoked, criminally invoked ones. That's what motivated their roles to the Trade Center crimes. There's a recorded crime path and methods and means of hiding it that are requiring them to prevent mandated law. For example, there are all kinds of criminal uses of every fact, cheaping nature, value. Each of these courts, originally and still, one-way reports, religion, fill. See, we're omitting this, you know, and I'm not trying to judge them. I'm trying to say they're victim predators. That's what's recorded every day. These are people putting people in jail. Those jails are recorded crime acts rolls with clicks that are against that are in elderly homes and criminally involved with the children at the same time. They pretend the food comes out at this time. Those things sustain. They're used as means to torture methods to keep things moving. Drugs, things just stay moving, not by accident. It's not because of money. It's because they never had legal. They never heard legal nature speak. Not criminally foreign influenced. Everyone. These are not means. Each age of fact should be nature. We are grouped nature of volume. Sexes, grouped areas, families, ages. One identity is in demonstration of its nature of volume. See, we are only the extent of it. So we are a trinity, though, the way it is in relationship to itself, in each nature of that. Each semi nature, as that, is a gaining nature of volume by one that is also demonstrably two more semi natures. Watch vidIQ live in 30 minutes. So I didn't. Video. Why does it want to delete our videos? So I needed videos up here because the identity of the ground too. They're using each of the database relationship clicks are being used by a nature of organized crime that our directors only understand through life progressions that are personal to them, that are grouped, and that are altogether shared by nations' identity of negative value nature progression. So they only understand it short of being able to defend themselves and understand it at the same time. What it is recorded. See, but as fast as they throw people in jail that are innocent and torture them there and attach them to fake things, the whole everything. I got the guy to admit though too. We have names, crimes, all kinds of natures of federal crimes associated with my police chief. People name a guy named Cintron, and there's a Cintron guy. So these are people involved with child offenders and using their kids into branch through time, making confessions and spreading lies, pretending they're about justice. Because we had originally and still overt criminal enterprise juxtaposed with a whole bunch of nations exploiting them with our own, with a whole bunch of with private exploiting them with our own, all private tied to interbranches. They're they're with physical delusions, criminally foreign influenced takes on other people's words. They're in fact extortion, worse than extortion. This is identity theft. Don't leave out the extortion though. These are extortion acts against me, identity theft crime acts against me by various natures of courts, recorded and further confessed, like a proven sequence shift, post dated documents from inside the Ninth Circuit, right before the Trade Center attack, showed the panel of judges post dated documents from inside the court. That proven led to a 2006 district court case in Connecticut with defendant, former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and his federal federal criminal code defendants, a daughter of one, Thaddeus Grabowski, and another one with and their family member associated with Eric Jensen. Other people involved with the New Britain Superior Court, with the Wethersfield town offices criminally involved, database clicks. People involved with mobile gas stations, involved with military, foreign, and domestic, criminally involved. Criminal uses of KKK, Confederate flag theme. Criminal uses of black theme. Culture is a trinity. Culture is invisible but discernible, forever nature. The rest of it is debatable. And see, that's being forced, respected criminally. Follow mandated law. See, we have people pretending people are prejudiced because they need to offensively pretend they're not involved with identity thefts. How many natures of identity theft there are? They're keeping each standing position group with the area standing criminal seriousness nature. You know, where they have these stayed streams from off campuses. There are further medical families, foreign and domestic, associated with the briefing of the media and stuff like that, with the further influences of from off campus, a whole bunch of police forms, other not just FBI. There's a Sclora family also involved with the predicate acts, other natures of crime on off CCSU, crimes with judges recorded and confessed. A whole bunch of police forms, foreign and domestic, private. See, they mix that in with all narratives where then they have to hide this because they have to hide much from presidents. There's a Charlie Bowes. I never had anything to do with him. I never had a class with him in my life. I never played on his football team. One time I was on, I went to a couple practices when I was a freshman, but we practiced on a different side. I was with like put like well line people. With that guy though did that for a reason because he was influenced to do that because that guy was also the gym teacher when I was in grammar school. They were facilitated the criminal uses of them for identity. They were making everyone speak through other people because they're maintaining live progression uh, roles, needs to hide that with the quality of fact treatment nature used by people speaking through other people interbranch. They're juxtaposed crimes with overt criminal enterprises originally. Still, that's known, and we knew. They say, "Oh, but we don't like to admit that." Though they don't like to admit it because because they don't know how to talk about it. Because a whole bunch of nations are still standing criminal and seditious natures together in that value. No, we're pseudo positive. So you can't value the logic that justifies that and handle what correlation nature has simultaneously inherent, active, and progressive as means. And with sequence true and our identity is not stolen. So that to keep this valued, know and let voice of that quality, integrity, that's going to cause evolution, always using the ground. We're not going to keep valuing, valuing the pathology of infrastructure, of relationship to means as nature and as the value of the ground, of the value of the water, how everything connects to itself as that. We need a pollution river too and stuff. Making such reveals all rocks. Instead of taking from mountains, take it from there. Making such, consolidate tasks. So many things, vaccines. So all we have to do is admit. So Tucker Carlson, please help. Because if I call on the phone, they're recording and confess they lie about the substance of our conversation, and they're hiding sequence shifts. They won't let the first crime acts. They're hiding the names of the judges are recorded and confessed and demonstrated. They forging names, switching names, crime acts roles, criminal uses of the sensibilities, even of a pregnant state's attorney. They influenced to forging names, switching names, crime acts roles with police forms involved with sexual crimes with kids and with each age of women and men, even with Facebook of their own New Britain Superior Court, and with a principal sex offenders campus, with further intercity, whole bunch of people tied with the Dillon family. And my new neighbors, I don't know their names, but they're recorded and confessed involved with this Dillon family and with the people involved further with the judges recorded and confessed involved with this Dillon family and with this Dillon family and with this Leahy family, other doctors involved with them with childhood sex offenders crimes and with the mother of one, with another, a whole bunch of people with. So they stack all these people of names I don't even know. These are people that walk by you and say something to you, implying you know what they're talking about. And thus now I only know their name and that they walk by pretending I know what I had a conversation with them that I never was. Now these are identity theft racket roles, even further with the Weathersfield Library and with the policing of it, foreign and domestic juxtaposed. I don't know what's underground there, but you guys, you need to get off my name, and you need to fix the fake news, and you need to get me the judges' names in one sequence too, and to not switch the names because they have no rights to make up things, attach me to fake behavior, fake words, fake relationships to others. They do this with kids through time. These are very, 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 very bad courts. Various natures of courts and the family members and all tied to them. This is very, 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 very bad police forms. We are very, 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 very bad overt criminal enterprises juxtaposed with them. Foreign and domestic military, on off CCSU through time. We have very, 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 very bad deans and their family members. On off CCSU, on off Tunxet College through time, on off Trinity College through time. Pick one name, time. Pick one name in sequence. Yeah, I need to get books and stuff too. Yo, Get me the names of these people from the, because this is off the ground of educated. These are more people. These are child campuses tied to these adult campuses because they're making not just because they're making teachers. This is a method. The same people are further involved with the principal sex offender were interbranch family members and their drug cliques with doctors with a whole bunch of natures of federal crimes, criminal uses of medical campuses on and off regular campuses of each age through time. They have a Joshua Stryker. I never had a conversation in my life. He's involved with the deans involved criminally. Now these are various criminal uses of a whole bunch of names, a whole bunch of campuses names. I don't have time for that. No one has time for that. I need to know the names of these people. These are people real sick with those locations on and off Hartford Hospital, on and off the other hospitals where Courtney confessed involved with these drug cliques, with the cops, with steroids, with everything with them. These are real sick punk fakes. Now they're victims, but they're victim predators. Each branch individually and together, their crime acts, methods, and uses of them. Their criminal uses of forensics cliques. Their criminal uses of the campuses, especially with the like UConn, associated with psychology. These are identity theft rackets roles. These are pseudo positive roles. They don't care about, oh, this term is this and this is unsensitive, sticks and stones. So these are people involved with overt criminal enterprises with the area. Whole bunch of ways. I told you that. That's recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. The witness protection program. These are also people involved with the witness protection program is also recorded and confessed with a body dumping spot and further crimes with this Fienza family that's involved with further crimes with WFSB, lying about me to kids, coaching the kids, and scaring the kids, and then putting their name on the news. In other words, because they're spreading lies through kids with overt criminal enterprises, with a Joshua Julian recorded and confessed to involved crimes with people associated with relatives of Phil Colo, and with a Phil Colo, crimes with the child sex offender campus and with medical cliques. That's why they're hiding life progressions with roles with that. That's how they have women motivated to roles with that, because these are sustained little subtle things that with database crimes that they exploit later, because then they can't tell the truth about what they do with it, because they mix it with on and off campuses. They pretend it's little kid things. These are identity theft racket roles. These are evidence racket roles. These are roles, identity thefts of area. This is what Hartford, Connecticut has been longing with every area, really. You know how many people are poor want someone to tell the truth? Native Americans want it too. These are not mere the means end. They come surging through. Who disbelieves? Have them pick one name in sequence. Please have the fix the fake news for Fox Connecticut News. I forgot your name. My friend, not my. I don't know you. I never met you. I heard that you said that you went to Trinity College, so you know Zion Street. I just remind. None can compete. I'm right. Seems they have to compete criminally. That's why they stack the database with so many federal natures of federal crime. Use wire crime methods because then they defend that. That's the value of this organized crime. To have people defend fact cheating nature racket roles, fake positive roles, fake integrity roles. We still have these problems through time with these campuses. A whole bunch of I have recorded, confessed, and demonstrated a whole bunch of Los Solitos criminally involved with judges, with you guys, with the fire departments, with this Della Fera family involved with FBI guys, criminally involved, judges, the probate judges, his extended family members, involved all natures of crimes with kids, drugs, using that for identity thefts, illusions to pretend they had people who had conversations that never were, pretend they had people who were in locations that never were, pretend people sequence shift. Then they make people's value sequence shifts value at the same time, value equality, naive, fact cheating nature. These are election crimes. They're not letting free speech. They're criminally using election crime laws that allow lying and about candidates and stuff like that against regular people, and they're doing such against politicians out of, they're lying about this is what built our precedent: criminal foreign influence, sub rows of crime tricks attached to human fact cheating nature, standing evil every day, putting people in jails, pretend less money. Those people need the jobs. This is what our but we provide the jobs. That's a value nature system other. Those market positions are contained semi-nature of the actual value nature system, the actual algorithm. These are identity theft programs. They're investing Facebook in deeper and deeper. Way wicked um, monopoly, or who could share their videos, for example. You know, you know who gets liked by people because they're forcing. Who wants to talk to someone who has to just constantly beg for fucking identity thefts taken down? You guys are going to be shown with extortion rolls and stuff like that because that's a recording. I'm not. Pick a crime. I'm not picking one. I want all of them. And Hartford, Connecticut is going to have the identity of correlation nature. Spoke the law, not its critical insidiousness nature. All right. I'm not a lawyer, not a police, I'm not a criminal. These are punks. You check your minds and souls right now. Get down. Pick one name in sequence. Fix the fake news.